Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Realnesss with 3 S's. I'm your host here, Chantele Francis. Up top with hair nice and wet, we got Michelle Nash. How you doing, Nash?
I'm good. Thanks, Chantele. I'm good. Honestly, just everything I could ever want in an episode of a part one of a final. Like, hands down, amazing. Yeah, that's all I have to say. It was such a good episode.
So good. And Fanta, you are all smiles right from the beginning. How you doing today, Fanta?
Wet ass hair. I just want to I'm sorry. That sucked. This was one of the best episodes of reality TV that I have seen in my life. It had everything. I couldn't believe my eyes.
Could not believe.
It was incredible.
Yes, I'm totally with you. And the reason why I'm commenting on your hair is because I've been sweating buckets all day because my air conditioner is broken. And so all I've been doing is fanning myself and taking showers. So I'm just commenting on like how much I want a freaking hot shower right now. It's 31 degrees inside my house, which is about 100 or so. It's hot. And so that's what I'm talking about. Sorry, what?
You don't have air conditioning.
It's broken. I woke up today in buckets of sweat on my bed at 7 a.m. So I've been up since 7 a.m. I'm like, I got to get out of here. So I leave my house and it's still 30 degrees outside. So I leave the house. I go on for a 4-hour walk because I'm just like, at least like getting like breeze. And I come back and it's just like coming in the room. And so I just want to take a shower so bad that I'm jealous that it just looks so cool over there. So I didn't mean to embarrass you. I was just jelly. But to agree with both of you, I freaking love this episode. Fanta and I just happened to be watching it at pretty much the same time. And like, I didn't want to spoiler with anything that like any of my reactions. So I just kind of like, so you saw that part, right?
I was ahead of you.
No, I mean, I said that, but like I was kind of still waiting on it. Like I was still probably about like 10 minutes ahead when I talked about that certain part. So I was just making sure that I didn't spoil you because it was just so good that I didn't want you to be expecting anything or whatnot. I didn't want to influence anything. So we have some of our favorites here. We have Andre, Charming Chantele, Fabulous Fanta, Marvelous Michelle. Friday night with my ladies. I'm ready to go. We're ready to go as well. Sophie, we're here. We've made it. Absolutely. Hello, Jorge. So some point, it's funny you guys complained about how long the Challenge 36 was and Big Brother last half of that. Whoa. Wait, she's talking about us coming on late?
No, I think she's just saying like we complained about the Challenge 36 because it was so long, and Big Brother's like half of that.
Well, Big Brother's usually 90 days. I guess that is half, like 3/4, I guess, 60%, 66%. Sometimes Big Brother does feel a little bit long though when it's really boring at the end. So
it's also like 3 episodes a week, so it's sort of different. It like feels longer because there's more episodes, but even if it's like a shorter amount of time, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. Like, and the pace is a little bit different. Like, I think for us, the reason why we're complaining about 36 is that we're just like, okay, I'm enough of Fessy. What's this? How's this playing out? Like, we're just like, I just need this to play out already because, like, you kind of could tell what was happening and it wasn't really that entertaining anymore.
Yeah.
So it could have been 90 days, like, or like 3 months. Like, that would have been fine by me. 3 months with 2 after shows would have been perfect instead of 5 months with an extra. Like, it's too much, too long. I was worried how they would make it fair for the men and the women in the final. The points and switching partners was promising to start. Yes, I actually really was very pleasantly surprised with how they organized the teams for the final. So basically they had they started with the run first to the puzzles, and then that's how the first set of teams started out, correct?
Yeah, because it was like whoever finished their puzzle first, whether they're a guy or a girl, they got to wait for the next person of the opposite sex to finish, and then they just go off together into the canoe.
So yes, I definitely, so go ahead.
I was just gonna say that I thought it was brilliant the way they did it, because it's like, you don't get to choose your partner. It's based kind of at random, but we'll get into that, of like who finishes at what time. And then you have to work with each person. So there's so much strategy involved of like what legs you want different people. And if there's certain people you just want to get that part over with, or like, you know, So yeah, I think that there was a lot of strategy that some players didn't account for and like other players did.
100%. So before we kind of get more in depth into the challenge, it's called Mo Money, Mo Problems. The beginning of the episode, Hip Hop Parade. Oh, and I'm just like, they just know how to engage me. Like, I'm in. Okay, you got me, guys. Like, good title in my opinion, and you got a nice hip hop song that I love. So everybody's celebrating about the final. Everybody's all hugs. It's a lot of people. So there's 12 people that are going to be going into the final. So there's a lot of people. It's their first times. People talking about what they would do with the money. People really exciting that they finally get to live out their dreams here. And so I really love this beginning stages of the episode. Fanta, what did you feel about it? Were you with these people? Were you rooting for them?
I was rooting for everybody. Like I genuinely love everybody. And even in the beginning, like seeing Kellyanne has her like animal sanctuary that she like really wants to get started. And it's like, oh, well, I want you to win. And then like every single person, I was like, I want everyone to win, but my draft, but I don't want any, like, it was just a very like push and pull thing for me where I was like, I love all of these people so much.
Yeah, I agree. I was like sad. I was like, okay, like I was a little confused, I'll admit, at the beginning, because when TJ said at the beginning, like they hadn't started, and he's like, he explained the rules. And then he's like, at the second leg, like the last team goes home. And I just didn't think of it properly. And in my mind, I was like, oh, they all do the one leg and then they all do the second leg once they switch partners. And then someone's getting eliminated. I didn't realize it was like, if you don't make it to that, you're done. Like the last team is done. So when they were all saying that, I was like, no, that's wrong. That's wrong. And I was just like freaking out because I obviously I love them all. I want them all to succeed. But I was like, if Kellyanne loses in the first fucking leg, this is fucked, because she's the person to beat in all the other thing. Well, not, she's one of the top in terms of endurance, and I was like, for her to not get that chance. So that was like my main concern, I would say. And especially after Big Easy's amazing triumphant performance last week, I am rooting for him as well to do well. Like I want him to get to the end, and like whatever happens, I want him to like finish and feel good. So I was definitely freaking out at that moment.
Oh my God. This is the moment that we were talking about. So Fanta and I had this kind of kerfuffle about like watching it and streaming it. And like, I'm like, I just started, whatever. We're trying to figure it all out. And I'm a little bit of ahead of hers. And I know how much of...
I was ahead of you.
When it stopped?
When you started, like when you started watching, you were like 7 minutes in. I was actually 33 minutes in.
Oh, and so then you started back at 33.
Yeah.
Okay, because I thought that when that was all happening, that like you just immediately started and you went back to the beginning. Okay, but it doesn't really matter. But the point was, I was like, oh my God, Fanta must be so like on the edge of her seat right now with your lady crush with the beautiful Kellyanne being in the back. So basically, they're all doing their puzzles. They're going out like one after another. These teams are going, and we're seeing that it's Kellyanne finishes second to last. So she's the 11th to finish this puzzle. And the last man is Easy, and he's not figuring out this puzzle. Sorry, what are you missing?
Oh, no, I was going to say, I was surprised because of all things. I was like, oh, Easy will be at the beginning of this pack, and then he'll probably lose as it goes forward. But now I'm like, oh, it's the opposite. Like, he was terrible at it because he got freaked out, nervous in his head, got a mental block, when he's really good at this shit. Exactly. And then, but then he was able to row much better than some of the other guys in it,
Absolutely. But what it looked like they were so far behind. Like I couldn't really tell how far the distance was. I didn't know if it was an hour or so of a row. Like I didn't know how far it was. And so it seemed like people were taking off and like getting to the other side before they even left their side. So I was like, oh my God, like, is that like going to be the major upset? Is that Kellyanne, the front runner woman, is going to be taken out in a purge at the first stage of the final after she was worried about Kendall this whole season? Like, that can't be her story. That can't be her story. And it was pretty close to being her story. But as you're saying, her and Easy were a lot stronger rowers than Jisela and Derrick.
Derrick, honestly, I'm just seeing this comment down here. I agree. Like, how does he not know how to row? Like, he's been in so many finals, and there's a water component in everyone, and sometimes it's swimming or whatever. But like, this situation, there was nothing to be blamed. Like, Jisela didn't help. Like, she also was bad, and perhaps if he had had a stronger female, he would have done better. So like, for sure. But come on, like, you're the guy rowing. He had no idea what he was doing. They both fucked up. Like, it was equally both their faults. So I didn't feel as bad because I was like, he didn't get fucked over. Like, that was his own fate in that, like, he couldn't keep up with it. He's not, if you know how to row, it's just so different. Like,
yeah. Oh my God.
Fanta, was that the part where it went off for you? Was where he jumps over Jisela and on the boat? Because that's where it actually automatically made me start the show. So yes, maybe we were interfering with our watching experience, which was about 33 minutes in.
I think I was farther than that.
Oh, because when I actually went on, that's where it came into. So I don't even know why he's taking this risky move, like jumping over Jisela in a boat to get to the front to change their positioning.
But then he does that
I think he was just so like desperate, like, because they were like, oh my God, like we're really like losing. We could possibly lose. And I think he was so desperate of like, this is not working here. Maybe I can get to the front and like do something. It was a total desperation move for sure.
Yeah, and I thought it was just kind of funny how he perfectly does that, doesn't fall in the water. He's really good at like, he's got great balance, like he has good skills. Like you compare it to like Alton being like getting it with water and completely fucking that up. But so like he's fine at that. I expected them to fall. No, they're good. Yet he can't row. Like he just can't figure it out. Like,
yeah, I mean like that. This whole episode was just so crazy because of everything was just like in such a pressure cooker. And like we were talking about Big Easy just being so nervous, but it was interesting. Like there was no sense of like, okay, let's just like, there were certain people who were like, let's calm and like recalibrate. But a lot of people weren't. Like just to see like Derrick panic that way. And he's done so many more challenges than Jisela has. I was like, wow, like this is crazy. Like I really would have thought that Jisela and Derrick would have been like, okay, what we're doing right now is not working. Let's try a different stroke. Like, let's try something else. But I was horrified watching them. Like, I mean, they're both on my draft, so it was an absolute nightmare for me. But I was like, I can't believe this is happening. I can't like watch this.
But weren't you like equally like, I agree. I was like cringe, can't watch. But wasn't it like equally cringe, oh no, and equally like thank God? Because if that hadn't happened, Kellyanne was donezo.
Oh, yeah.
Like there was no chance. If they had even just rode normally, they would have literally just lost. And so I'm so happy they fucked up so bad because as much as it was so cringe, I was like, I need Kellyanne and Big Easy to still be in it. Like I'm a Derrick supporter. I love Derrick. I've loved him this whole thing. I wanted him to be there. But at the end of the day, like out of those guys, like, I mean, I still think he's good. And if it had started at another leg, but like, dude, sucks to suck.
But it did make for a pretty funny moment when they were rowing backwards and they were giving the beep, beep, like a truck sound effect on them backwards rowing. So we did get that moment. And we got another moment. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, you're probably about to say it, but the thing that like cracked me up so much was when Alton and Anissa were in the boat together. And Anissa's like, no, you can't do it. This is how you have to row. No, you have to do that. And every time, like, Alton's just like, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Exactly.
I was like, oh, mwah.
It was like, so good.
Please, Fessy, watch this season. Please, all the guys.
Watch it.
Watch the season. Learn something. Watch the way Darrel was as a partner. Watch how all the guys were as partners,
honestly, the way that the partners treated each other, it was incredible because it's true. It's like, you need that person. You cannot win without that person. And it was just so interesting to see how people just like wanted to be like, oh, they just wanted to yell or like throttle their partner, but they were like collecting themselves and they were like, no, we're going to do this together. I will wait for you. Da, 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 da. Like it was, even just that in itself was very interesting to watch.
Oh my God. I totally agree with you guys. And I totally agree with like crossing our fingers at Fessy and the people that are just like always just putting down Anissa. So even Kyle can take a look at this. Josh, who's jumping on the bandwagon, and even CT for like how he sometimes doesn't feel as though his partners are going to be able to keep up with them. And I get where they're coming from for sure. But I loved how much people didn't feel terrible and pathetic and that they're not wanted, they're not valued. Like it's like they knew when they weren't doing well and they were motivated to do better, and so they wanted to do better for their partner. And that's what I liked about majority of the partnerships. There's only one or two times where Easy was getting a little bit short, so we had a couple of little spats with Ruthie. And
even that, like,
it wasn't that bad. Exactly.
It wasn't that bad. Think about how we've seen Easy in the past with partners. Like the worst. So yeah, he was being a little whatever with her, but like it wasn't that bad. Like, you know what I mean? Like comparatively speaking, he has grown like totally.
Yeah. And I mean, even, I agree with all of that. And even just to say as a whole, like, look at how well everyone did. And there are so many people that are not like in like main season shape, like been training all year. Like, I mean, we'll talk more about how well everyone did, but it's like, oh, so you really get to see how mental the challenge is. It's not about all this like hard body shit and everything. It is mind over fucking matter. And that's why this episode was just like, oh my God, like below, like just
everybody has a friggin' chance here.
Everybody has a fighting chance and everybody does well. And I would rather see people like this who have personalities, can treat everybody with respect, can bring the drama, and no matter what, can just like power the fuck through. It's like, way more interesting to watch.
Jonna might win the challenge. Like, can we talk about the fact that Jonna might win the entire thing over the men? Like, I mean, we don't know, obviously, but like she got first place in 2 legs.
It's possible.
Like, it's possible. And because they're doing it in this way of like, whoever has the most points, and in a way that's like, okay, great, it's even, it's balanced, and like you have to have the overall best score to win. Like she could fucking, like I literally was like, Jonna's gone first. Or Jemmye. But like, and I thought maybe Jemmye will squeeze by because there are some things that Jemmye has shown to be better at. Like she was really good at the rowing, for example, and you know, but Jonna, like her work ethic in this is her first final ever, and like she is not giving up. She's giving it her all. I'm so fucking impressed by her. Like, and I'm impressed by everyone. It's just, it's so heartwarming to watch.
And she gave birth 7 months ago.
Yeah. A year. Like that's like,
pardon me. I was like, I cannot do this.
Andre says, preach, Fanta. I'm 40. I fell out of love with the challenge, but this reunited my love. I even suffered through some episode of Double Ages because I got on a kick. Exactly. This really, really has revitalized my like I've watched like 10 seasons of the challenge back to back. It's all I watch all day long, and I might go back and just do a rewatch because I'm like, I love these people. I love the old school people. I just really do. Now, want to hear what my pitch is? I might even go directly to friggin' the Godfather himself, Mark Long, and say, I think you need a 35 plus fresh meat season. Like, I want to audition or be part of Fresh Meat's OG All-Stars. Like, are you kidding me? Like, imagine that. Like, all these 40-year-olds that are, like, been fans of the show since they were the same age, like 20 years old, and coming on and being Fresh Meat with, like, friggin' these guys. Like, wouldn't that be so fun?
I'd watch it.
I mean, I definitely would watch that.
Well, you know that we'd all be fans, and that's what we loved. I think I loved about Fresh Meat, the original one. Like, yes, I didn't know them, but I knew they were fans of the show.
It could even be like a fans versus favorites type of theme or whatever, or like type of vibe where it's like you have fans of the show, and you have to be over a certain age that it's a whatever, and it's an all-stars, like it's within the all-star like umbrella.
Exactly.
So the favorites are all all-stars.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly. Basically this season, but if they want to bring in some new blood, it would be fans that are around the same age as them. How fun is that? You're smiling, Rochelle. I think you're down.
Yeah, that would be fun. Yeah. I mean, I won't go on it, but like certainly.
Like, I mean, I won't, but like, yeah, I will for $500,000 if they open it up to like Canada. Like, give her. Like that one Canadian bachelor was on there, bachelorette girl. So maybe. You never know. So anyways, that's something that popped into my head. I'm like, this could fly because they're so into, it seems like, bringing in new eyes and new blood and stuff like that. And so I don't know how well the original Fresh Meat seasons did, but I don't know, this could be something because all these people around my age are all coming back to watch these seasons because they're like, it's so good. It's so fun. It reminds me of my youth. And so I don't know. I think there's something there. Definitely. Ooh, so Sophie's kind of agreeing here. I can see the main challenge in that type of fans versus favorite type challenge thing. No, I actually don't see the main seasons because they, in my opinion, seem to only want to bring in like people that have a lot of social media following from other countries to get their eyeballs that way. It doesn't seem like the people that they're bringing onto the show are fans of the show. And that's what I think is falling. And I watched the after show. And I was trying to get you guys both to watch it because it was the best after show I've seen out of all of them. Like, it was so good. The tea that was spilled.
Oh my God, tell me all the tea.
So one of the things that they're talking about is like how they were all, when they were quarantining in Argentina, they were all in rooms beside each other, but they weren't allowed to interact. So they were like hanging out and having beers outside of their window and talking to each other outside of their window. Through groups of them, like Derrick and a couple other people. The police came on their first night that they were there because they were drinking out on their balcony. And then the second night, like I think it was Jisela, Anissa, and I think what's her name? Katie. We're all like, they got in trouble by the cops. Like, there's all this drama. And Ruthie apparently brings all, like, she always has like, you know, a knee brace for somebody or has like this sort of medication. And so she was sending things with like the catering people or like the room service people, like, can you give this bag of, goodies to so-and-so? And it was sneaking in some other things that they weren't allowed to be, passing back and forth. And so totally doing like some smuggling runs using the maid to send things to other people on the challenge. And so those are a couple of things that I remember.
I love that.
Beth stepped on a bee, and apparently Alton sucked the stinger and the venom out of her toe. Kellyanne also got someone else to suck venom out of a bee sting that she got on her shower.
If it was Kellyanne, I would do it though, like no problem.
If it was Kellyanne,
I would do it too. I wouldn't probably think about it. Oh yeah, here. See, yeah, Alton sucks the bee stinger out of Beth's feet. Exactly. What else happened on the after show? I mean, we'll probably get back to it as well, but like, I really, really definitely enjoyed it. I was smiling the whole time, and like, one thing that they did say, and this goes along with what we were saying, like Jemmye was just like hammering it home, being like, what's different about the challenge? They talk about the respect that the men were giving all of them and how they always feel like they were treated well when they went to restaurants. The men would pull out the chairs and let them sit down first. Like, everybody was she was calling them grown-ass men. Like, these are grown-ass men on this challenge. And then the other thing was kind of reiterating what I was saying just now about like having a potential fans versus favorite thing, is that Jemmye was like, the difference with this is why it's so successful and people are enjoying it so much, is that we're all fans of this show. We're not here for clout. Jemmye's like, we're not here for clout. We're not here for Instagram followers. We don't care. We're here for making good TV, having a good time doing it, and being on the challenge because we love the challenge. And she would just say, like, that's why this is so much better than the other season. She was just like, totally. I'm like, yeah, Jemmye, yeah. So it's great. So great. So great. Okay, so back to this. I have a question though. At the very beginning of the episode, they did have a little bit moment that resolved the Jisela and Anissa fight. Do you think that was enough? Do you think that that's settled? What do you think? Go ahead.
Well, I watched part of Jisela's live, I think last week, and she kind of spoke about Anissa, not like aggressively, rudely or anything, but what she said was that like they're fine, but their relationship can never be what it was, because once you've lied to her, the trust is broken. So they're not really like friends, especially like not the way that they were. And she kind of, and she goes into it and she's like, it's not, but that she doesn't really necessarily have bad blood towards her and like wishes her well, but she's like, I can't let these people into my life anymore. Like if they're whatever. So she's pretty like cut and dry about it. But she didn't say anything like negative about Anissa necessarily. She just was like, yeah, we're not friends.
That's wild.
Yeah.
I really don't think what she did was that bad. And I thought that her explanation, like they didn't show the whole thing, but her just being like, I really just didn't want to go in again. And I think that she believed that Yes might have trusted her enough to bring her in and just be like, know that they're friends enough that she would like want to fight with him. And I think she was just avoiding that being a possibility for herself.
She was scared that Yes was going to pick her. That's the truth. Like, I think she was self-preservation mode. She made that clear to Jisela after she's like, wasn't about you. I was just so afraid. If I had to go into that elimination right before again, I wouldn't have done it. Like, I would have just crumbled. That said, like, I get why Jisela's upset because she said she was going to do one thing. Like, she should have just thought about it before. Like, if Anissa had just thought about it logically before and been like, who's he going to pick? Oh, maybe I don't want to do that. And then she could have been like, Jisela, I don't feel comfortable voting him in because I'm worried about that happening. And
but maybe she wasn't worried about it, though, until she was in the deliberation, maybe, when he made that speech being like, oh, man, like, I kind of... No, but maybe he was like, oh, I kind of, like, spoke to him last, and, like, maybe he would consider... Like, maybe what he said was that maybe they had a good relationship that morning, and he might want to bring her in, you know? So... Yeah. I think it's just... I don't think what she did was that bad. She didn't do something directly that was bad for her guy. Like, I think that if she did something against Alton, like, oh my God, like there's no repairing there. But it didn't really have anything to do with her. And she still won against the person that she put them against. So I just would think that she'd be like, hey, I really hated that. Next time, can you please just let me know that you don't want to go with something that we're because I just don't want to rely on you to be doing something. I want you to be someone that's up your word, and this doesn't feel right to me. So please, in the future, if you were to change your mind or if you're not 100%, just let me know. And I think that should be enough. And if they're good enough friendship, Anissa will be like, absolutely, I'm sorry that it happened. Like, I didn't mean for it to happen that way. I don't want you to lose trust in me. And it should be done. But they both didn't fully handle it the best, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm just happy though that Anissa did take it into her own hands and allowed herself to at least get to the final, because I would have been devastated if she went against her own gut instinct, goes in with Yes, and then doesn't win and goes home. Like, and it would be going home against Jisela.
Yeah.
Like, oh, that would have been so much worse.
Yeah, I think Anissa did the right thing.
Yeah, I agree.
Right thing for her.
I love there was in the beginning too, there was a moment where Yes and Kellyanne were talking. I think they're staring out the window and they're just kind of saying like, you know, how the final is a mental game and like, you know, Yes thinks that he could do a lot of things, but he doesn't know if he has the mental game, and some people don't. And like, I was like, I'm wondering if they're painting those two to be who's like the main contenders in the end of the finale, because like, why are we getting this moment? Why are we hearing them talk about this mental game and like what like surpassing some other people? So I was kind of thinking that those two were going to do well. We learned that Ruthie hasn't been to a final since 2002 for Battle of the Sexes, which I think I'm going to have to go back and watch because I haven't seen that one in a while, and that's nice and old school. Or is that the one with Beth, though, where she loses to Beth? They showed that clip with Ruthie losing to Beth. They showed clips of Derrick when he takes out Ace. Like, they were just going old school, like, good stuff. And there was some tea that was spilled. Hold on, I have to remember that. Because Devin, you know how Devin just loves me. Like, why didn't we know this already? Like, we need some more tea. Give me the tea.
And the thing is, like, Derrick, like, one of his best abilities is eliminations. So he didn't get to do any this season, which is, like, great for his game. But I think that he missed having a little bit of that competitive, like, thing, which he says he loves the adrenaline. And that's where he gets to show it, being that underdog that no one expects, being smaller to win, and then he beats them. Finals, I guess, just aren't really as much his thing. He's only ever won team finals. He's never won a solo or duo final before.
Well, and the last one was the Island. Like, that was, like, before anything thing has really been the way that they have been in the last 10 years. So he doesn't really know what he's up against here. He's just an elimination beast, really. And so Jemmye confirms that she was irritated with Derrick. She's like, Derrick, he's always playing the fence, sit in the middle. Like, they're all ganging up on him. Like, Beth was like, he never makes a decision. Like, they're just talking about, like, he's just back and forth on the fence, doesn't know who he's siding with, won't make a decision, sitting in the middle, sitting on the line. She's like, I was sick of it. Like, that was Jemmye.
Where's the lie?
No lie.
He's always feeling that way. And then, like, the very last minute, he'll be like, okay, I'll choose Johnny or whatever.
Exactly. Or who he's always going to choose, but then he doesn't like decide until the very last minute. So that was another thing that Jemmye like confirmed that like she was annoyed with Derrick and his never really taking a stance or having a real like stake in the game. We're gonna get back into the challenge, but I loved when they all were lining up in front of TJ, and Jonna was so happy. Like she was just like, it felt like she was like his ex-girlfriend or something. Like they haven't seen each other in forever, and she's like, oh my god, like she's just so smiley and happy. And then he says over 2 days, and you hear it sounds like it's a Anissa that's like, 2 days? Like, she knows that they're 2 days long. Like, shouldn't it be a shock to her?
I thought he said a few days.
No, he said 2.
Oh, I thought he said over the next few days.
I thought he said over the next few days.
Yeah, and so
I heard 2.
Insinuated like it's going to be many days, which I was
confused
about.
I only heard 2.
Oh, that would make more sense. But that's why I thought the reaction was like, what? I thought he said a few days. Anyways, we'll go back and
well, I thought it was 2 days, and then we have Jonna saying like, "Oh, I can do 2 days. I went for 20 hours of labor." And so, anyways, so why is it so surprising? Like, it's always 2 days, or like it's always an overnight portion. In the last, we'll say, at least maybe 8 years.
I think maybe Anissa just like, I think like whoever else was just like, oh, but they were going to go easy on us. Like, I think it's been like the whole season. They're like, oh, they're going to go easy on us. It's only going to be a one-day final. This is only like a 2-week season.
There's been one-day finals before.
Yeah, I guess, but like they had to know that with 12 people going into the final, that it's going to be spread out. They're going to make them at least work for that $500,000, which I still wish was just chopped up a little bit, like for second, third, kind of like I just watched Rivals 3, and $350 for the two, like the male and female winner that they split. $175,000 is a pretty good thing for 2 weeks, and then $50,000 and $25,000 split, like. Great, like just do that. It's not horrible, So I don't know why they won't, why they can't just give them $500,000 split between 6 of them, 6 people getting a piece of the pie would be amazing.
Yeah, but it's more dramatic this way.
I guess. Is it though? Oh, I wish people would win more money.
Yeah, 2 days makes way more sense. I was like, I think I heard wrong, but I was like, that seems weird. And I think just based on the reaction, I assumed they had said a few days, and I was like, that's weird. But after the end of,
Sophie says when Mark came up with this challenge, he didn't want any eliminations. Really? How would that work? Just like hanging out, like real world style, and then, or like just doing dailies and hang out and then do a final with everybody? I mean, I don't hate it, but I know I need the drama of like the politicking.
And this, like the way the season has gone, has made it legitimate. Like, yes, it was shorter. Yes, blah, blah, blah. But the challenge that they've done and this final is as hard and in some ways harder than other challenges that have happened recently. Like it's comparable. Like in my opinion, a win of this season is just as equal to a win in any other season. Like, we already know from the previews they're going to have to stay up all night. They've had to eat those fucking peppers, which was crazy. Mm-hmm. There's going to be other stuff they have to eat tomorrow, as we saw. They had to row. They've had to run. They've had to bike and build their own bikes. Like, the amount of things, they've had 2 or 3 puzzles already. Like, shit is happening.
Yeah, they're making them work for it. And
it's legitimate. This is the legitimate win. There's no question about that.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So we're, during the first checkpoint, which like I thought it was a really great one with the puzzle and the row, but we hear that thing, and I'm like, take it back to like my Lauryn Hill days, back when like I remember in high school I loved the Fugees. I listened to that Fugees CD on repeat. I knew every word for every song. We used to listen to this whole CD going, and we drive down this one street. It's a super long street that has lots of hills, and my friend's Bonneville. And so we'd just cram a whole bunch of people and just go down super fast, really dangerous. No stops, just go through the stop signs and like just flying out of the car listening to Lauryn Hill. Like very dangerous. Don't do this at home. We were 16 and silly. But that's what reminds me of Lauryn Hill and the Fugees around this time. So loved it. Just had to put that out there. So after the first checkpoint, we lose, as we said, Derrick and Jisela, which was, I didn't want them to go, absolutely, but I really did not want Jisela and Easy to go.
You mean Kellyanne?
That's what I meant. You know what I meant. And so I didn't want them to go either, more than I wanted Jisela and Derrick to stay. And so I was really happy that they both really took it in stride. Like they were out, they got to their final, they were out first, and they just didn't seem bitter. They didn't seem mad. They didn't blame each other. Like, gracious.
They were like, it was a good run. I'm upset, but like, they were just such good sportsmen. They had really good sportsmanship.
Really good sportsmanship. So after that, they had to pair up again. So I know I wrote all this down. It was really kind of hard to actually.
They let the person who got first, so Jonna, pick the next partner, and then kind of go from there of like who in the order of how they had finished the first leg.
Okay, so why do I have it like this? So I have Darrel and Jonna get 5 points each. Yes and Jemmye got 4 points. Mark and Ruthie got 3 points. Alton and Anissa got 2 points because they started out really far in front. And they ended up tipping. So even though Alton was yes, ma'am, yes, ma'am, yes, ma'am, and listening, he was actually sitting too far forward. He was obviously heavier. So like the front end was dipping in, and it was kind of not cutting the waves in a way that wasn't allowing water in. So they ended up tipping at one point. And I didn't see this myself. I don't know if either of you caught it, that they had actual, like, the challenge production helping them flip it back over. Because I was like, how the heck did they flip that back over? But apparently somebody was able to see, like, I don't know if the cameraman or a diver or a medic that helped them flip the boat back over. What do you guys think? Do you think that should be allowed? Do you think that, like, they should have been able to flip it over themselves? Like, where do you guys stand there?
I think it's fine. Like, I just think that it would have been, like, quite a production for them to flip that back over themselves, and then also to get back in, because you're supposed to get into those boats like on ground.
Yes, it's true. So yeah, no, some people are saying like, oh, that's not fair. They shouldn't be getting any help by production, but it's like they don't want them to drown, and like, I don't know, they're not necessarily adept in canoeing enough in this particular environment to be able to figure out how to flip that back over. So I'm fine with it. They lost like 3 positions, and they could have very easily fallen right back and out of it. So I don't think that they should be penalized for the fact that their boat tipped over. They lost a lot of time.
Yeah,
they lost a lot of time. Yes, reverse that bitch with the beef. So funny. So Alton was really upset though. So we didn't really know this, but Derrick and Jisela were his 2 favorite people in the whole challenge, which I was like, that's sweet.
He was so emotional.
So cute. He's such a little cutie pie. And that's another thing that they were talking about on the after show, was the fact that they were getting cozy often. They were enjoying each other, I think is how they were calling it. It's like many a nights Alton was and Jisela were enjoying themselves. So I don't know if we gave the points already, but that's 100%. Those were points.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Yeah,
100%.
They each get 5. Yeah, they each get 5. You can get those points, Fanta.
She already got them, I think. But you gonna get them again? Okay, so Jonna gets the first pick, and she picks yes. And so how she decides to pick Yes, she's like, Yes looks like somebody that knows how to put together a bike, because I guess they could see what the next stage was. So it's like smart thinking.
She was watching him look at the bike. And the way he was looking at the bike, she was like, okay, I want him.
She's so smart. Like,
she's so smart.
Oh, do you know what the other songs are? I just looked up and I saw the other song that I wrote down that I loved that happened before this part was, ooh, I like it like that. Working that back like I know how to act. Slow motion for me. Slow motion for me. So that song reminds me of 2005. I worked at this hip hop nightclub in Montreal. And at the end of the night, it was me and my like best friend Julie's favorite song. And her like, Julie, dance avec moi, oui. Like, ooh, I like it like that. And she's just like this like white French girl that's like, she just like slow motion. And so that's what this song reminds me of, 2005, where I was getting, I think, my mom to send me VHS tapes of the challenge for me in Montreal. She mailed that, Alias, and I think Survivor and like Big Brother when it was on. I think that's what she used to mail to me. So I was always a fan, just saying. Because somebody else mentioned another song. I just don't remember where it came. Waterfalls. Where was that?
When they tipped over.
It was such a moment. Someone was mentioning in the chat that whoever's doing the soundtrack goes, Jorge needs a raise. Yeah, I think that they are doing some good work with making it so enjoyable. Like I was smiling like full grin this entire final, or screaming, but like I was engaged and enjoying every single minute of it. So back to the picking. So Darrel picks Jemmye because who didn't he not want to pick? Did he say that there?
No, he didn't say, but I just assumed he saw, okay, it's a bike, it's not running, let me pick Jemmye for now.
I think it might have been...
Like, in my mind, I was like, he wants to save Kellyanne for later.
Yeah, of course you're going to save Kellyanne for later, because everybody's going to suck on the bike. Like, to a certain degree, like, everybody's not going to be
especially since they're tethered together on a bike. Like, that's really difficult, for sure.
And like, they're kind of allowing to put these bikes together, but they don't really, I don't think, have, like, yes, they have the tools to do it, but, like, they don't seem to be tightening it enough, because as soon as, like, a fall happens, like, tire pops off, or, you know, Mark's pedal pops off, like, it didn't seem like they allowed for these bikes to be completely functional. It was like, I don't know. It might have been just for the drama of it all. The producers were like, well, let's just let them use it by hand, and maybe their bikes will fall apart. They'll have to carry all the bike pieces to the next checkpoint. The other people put together. So we got Ruthie and Easy, Mark and Anissa, and Alton and Kellyanne. So Alton is using Kellyanne at this like checkpoint, and this was good because they were able to gain quite a bit of ground on this one, being able to pass a lot of people that were falling and not doing a great job. Jemmye, though, loved her sound bite, her little confessional of her saying, like, I had to put together a bike. Like, my dad bought me a bike when I was younger, and I didn't know couldn't teach me how to ride it, so he got me a go-kart. And she's like, I don't put things together. I hire people to do that and drink my margarita or daiquiris, or I don't know where she's drinking something. I love daiquiris on the boat, and yeah.
I love how she's just like a New Orleans, like, princess.
Like, just saying that she drinks daiquiris while she's on the bayou in a kayak, I'm like, I want to just be hanging out on the bayou as part of, like, my regular day-to-day life. Like, it seems good.
It's the shit.
I've never been there.
Like, if we can travel again, that's like, I'm going to go there again. New Orleans is all time. It's amazing.
Really? I want to go and see kind of like the voodoo kind of world of it. I find that very interesting. And then obviously all the jazz stuff is really interesting.
Do everything.
I'm going to. That's one like American state or city that like that I've just never been to. That it's definitely up there on somewhere that I want to go. I think it has. I like the fact that it has it's a French colony, and like so I'm interested in the Haitian community that's like built in there. Yeah, I find it quite interesting. There's a lot of depth there that I don't necessarily put to Americans in general. So I do want to see a little bit of Louisiana. 100%. So why do they need to be tethered together, though? I feel like this is a little bit dangerous on the terrain. Go ahead.
I feel like a lot of these are like throwbacks. This is like a throwback to Fresh Meat 2. They did the same with the bikes where they tethered them.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think it would have been fine if not for the horrifyingly tough terrain. Like, I can bike, but even biking on that by myself, I'd be like, oh God, like, because it was so up and down and there's rocks and there's trees. Like, it was kind of a recipe for disaster in a lot of ways. So I wasn't surprised that a lot of people struggled and fell and had like problems with it. And I was happy because I was like, okay, Kellyanne can like gain some ground here, you know?
Yeah,
definitely became an equalizer unexpectedly, because if it was a completely open terrain, the people that are the strongest are going to be able to move the fastest for sure, and overtake a lot more easily. And so like some people were trying to overtake and crashing and falling and getting their tires like get caught up in the tether. Like it was pretty messy, especially because it was not very wide. It seemed like it was like 3 feet wide that they're trying to ride together. It's like, this is really, really, really terrifying. Sophie would kill herself if she biked by herself. So she was not just going to be the best biker, and so I'm not going to be tethered to Sophie if I'm going on the All Stars fans versus favorites. So Darrel and Jemmye's commentary in this final was so good. 100%.
Darrel is so funny. Like. He thrives so much in this type of environment. It makes you forget, because like in the main season, you're like, oh, he's like, he doesn't say much and like this, da. I was cackling at all of his commentary this entire episode. I was dying. He was so funny.
He's always so funny.
He's so funny and he's chill. He's perfect for a final because he keeps his cool. He does the smart things. He doesn't freak out, and he's won every final he's been to. So he has that level of confidence going in, being like, well, there's no reason I can't win. Like, let me just do it. Like the moment where we haven't even gotten to that part yet. But anyways.
Don't tell me, that's my favorite part of the whole episode. But I know what you're going to say.
He's just, he was so entertaining. Just no fucks given is his energy. And I love it.
Just like,
I love it.
He just powers through and just gets it done. Like that's his style. It's like, I'm just going to go in and win this. No doubt, just power through. Love that. And I love that he can do it with any partner. Like he does say sometimes like, oh, I would rather have this person, or I want to do this leg with Jonna as opposed to doing it with Jisela, like, with the rowing part. Oh, and we never commented on how cute TJ was, just like loving his life on the speedboat. Like, I love you, TJ. Yeah, I watched one of his lives the other days and he's like playing guitar. I'm like, are you trying to make me fall in love with you again, TJ, this week?
He's such a cutie.
Such a cutie. Mark was quite inventive. He lost his pedal and they couldn't figure out what to do, so he decided to ride his bike like a skateboard, just pushing off while he's on it, which I think is a good idea as opposed to just walking it. He's at least getting a little bit more movement, and if he's going downhill, he can still pick up some speed. So I thought that was smart, and I thought it was very smart that Jemmye and Darrel decided to take that screwdriver or Allen key or whatever type of tool that was. Why didn't anybody else think to take the tool?
I don't know. Maybe they just weren't thinking of it, but that was so smart. I was like, yeah, everyone should be thinking that, but
it would be something that I 100% am like, this is coming with me. Don't know if I'll need that later. So do we remember War of the Worlds 1 when they did the bicycle too? Some people did horrible in that too. I think some people quit in that portion as well. I don't fully remember. I haven't gone back to the rewatch of, I'm only at Invasions of the Champions right now. So I have a couple seasons before I get to the War of the Worlds 1. But I don't remember that. But I do remember it from Fresh Meat because that's more recent that I've watched it.
Yeah.
But I don't necessarily love that because I just feel like it's so dangerous.
This whole challenge is dangerous.
Yeah, the whole challenge. Them doing after they're biking, whatever. When they did that when Nehemiah and Teck did that pepper elimination, we saw how horrifying it was. and they only ate one.
Mm-hmm.
These people have to eat two, and then they have to run. And it was just so amazing to watch. Like, people are freaking out, and then the people who don't freak out, and then they digest.
Oh
and
God,
it
don't.
kicks in, and they're just dying. I was dying.
The moment you see when like it would like hit their stomach. Oh my God, like when Jemmye was like, oh, this is like no problem, I'm from Louisiana. And like that pepper was like, no problem for me. And then it hit my stomach and you just see it like in her eyes.
She's like, she became dead. She's like, no.
Oh
Sitting there, I was just like,
Oh, good night, Sophie. Thank you for hanging out with us. We'll see you again next week for the saddest day of the week, next Friday. So sad. Oh my God. Yes, we're going to talk more about that for sure. So before we get there, though, so we're at the checkpoint. I think it's checkpoint 3. They have to solve a puzzle where there's a star, and they have to put the points of the star to have them all equal the same amount. And so I believe that Yes and Jonna got to the checkpoint first, and they also were able to finish first. So Yes finishes first. They're still partnered up, so he helps Jonna so they both can get first place, so they can get, Jonna can get a second 5 points here. So she is doing really well with her 2 partnership, but she does have the 2 strongest men in her 2 first legs. So that's also something to note, that she, if we can assume that everybody on their partnering with Yes and Darrel are going to get 6 points, then you can most likely will think that either Darrel or Yes will win this final. It just seems that way, unless something happens and maybe one gets taken out or they go to the very bottom on one of these legs. But
I don't know, man. I have a feeling that, and by feeling, I just mean that I just feel like someone we don't expect to win is going to win.
Well, that's a Yes win, though. A Yes win.
Not necessarily. To me, what that tells me
is Jonna.
No, not necessarily. Is that a female wins? Like, I think a female winning would be very shocking and unexpected and difficult.
Yeah,
and
everyone is expecting like, oh, well, Mark's gonna win, or
because
Mark's not winning.
There's still the overnight, and we still have challenges to the next day, and you don't know how things are going to shake up. And when you think about the fact that Jonna doesn't seem like she's going to stop, Kellyanne's got her endurance, whatever. I still agree with you. Darrel and Yes are doing super well. Yes is doing better than I would have expected, but I think it'll in my mind, it's going to be shocking. Either a female wins or Easy wins. Although at this point, I don't think Easy's going to win, but.
Easy's
zero
chance.
Yeah, but I mean, we don't know how many legs. We don't know how many points they're going to give for the next day. We don't know, we don't know for sure what's going to happen. So I don't know.
Okay, if there's 5 legs, Easy would have to win all 5 legs to even be in contention with everybody getting any other point distribution. It's just I don't think it's a possibility. Yes, in the land of the universe, it is possible for him to win every single thing moving forward and get the most points, but the likelihood is quite low, I would say.
But it also depends on how everyone else places. If the people who are at the top place really low for all the other ones, and then other people get higher in the balance of points,
should we have this conversation after the Carolina week stuff?
Okay, fine, sure. Okay, so we have our new Paris partnership. So we have Yes now is with Kellyanne. So we were going to assume that both of these are going to do well. Kellyanne finally is with a partner, and she's going to most likely be able to get a first place position here. So this
Didn't she pick Darrel? Oh wait, sorry, but the step before that.
She did Darrel for the bike portion. So now this is the next one. So Yes is with Kellyanne. Jonna is with Mark. Darrel is with Ruthie. And I love Darrel's I want to be with Ruthie so I can carry your ass. And I was like, yes, that's what we need in the main challenge is if you can't do it, I'm going to carry you because I can do it for both of us. Give me that energy, please. Jemmye's with Alton here, and Anissa is with Easy. And I was like, whoo, that might be very hard for them if it's all running or whatnot. So it's still some more, they're still tethered, but it's a good old fashioned sprint, apparently.
That was not a sprint. Like, in no way was that a sprint. You couldn't sprint that terrain. Like, you actually couldn't. Even if you weren't tethered, it was like, you got to be careful. You're going to roll your ankle and die. Like,
it's
geez.
so dangerous, so dangerous. And at one point, you see Ruthie kind of lagging behind, and Darrel's like, well, can I carry you? Can I carry you? And like, Ruthie's just like full grin, smiling. Darrel just picks her up, carry her, and Ruthie's just like... like being carried by Darrel as he like passes a couple people, and like I was smiling. I love that moment so much. Like, Ruthie's just such a good sport. Darrel, I think he was a little bit doing it for the cameras and the TV, but like also for he wanted just to run a little bit and didn't want to necessarily like be like, come on. And so I love that little moment. You guys
Me
with
too.
me? You too? Oh my God, I love them. And what was playing? Oh, I Will Always Love You. I was like,
yes, it's like, and I was. Yeah,
so he did run past Mark and Jonna, but I laughed hard. And like I thought, Yes and Kellyanne end up being in first place for this sprint or whatever. So the scoreboard at this point, Yes has 14 points, Darrel has 13, Jonna 12, Jemmye 11. So those are the top four, which is very surprising. Kellyanne has 8, Ruthie 8, Mark 8, and 7, Anissa 6, and Easy 3. So this is why I'm saying that Easy has a little bit more of a challenging.
You're right. He does. I didn't realize he had that far behind everyone else.
Right? So it's just very challenging for him to get through.
Yeah.
If anybody just does like a 3, like all through the rest of it, I think that he can't overtake them, you know?
Yeah.
So welcome to checkpoint number 4. So Anissa has Yes and Darrel yet left to choose from, and she kind of strategically did that, so she knew that she was going to have strong men as her partner in the later legs. So I think that was smart, so she can see what she needs to do to maybe maneuver and get to the further stages. So I thought that was pretty smart. This is where Kellyanne picks Yes. Which is another strong partner. Is that what happened? Hold on, what am I writing here? Anissa picks Yes. Kellyanne picks Darrel. Oh, because she rode the bike with Alton. Sorry, my mistake. And Ruthie picks Alton. Jemmye picks Mark, and Jonna picks Easy. So they're going to go, and the trolls of the challenge decide to make them eat 2, as you said, Michelle, of those Carolina Reapers, and solve a freaking puzzle from the challenge that they all kind of failed with the trap door at the same time. So I was like, those are just assholes, just jerks.
That's really like trolls under the bridge.
That's so mean.
Like, so bad for them. They haven't eaten all day.
Oh my God. And they've just been running, and like, they're just so like depleted. And Easy's like, oh, you know, like, these are easy, like pop like Tic Tacs or some shit. And I'm just like, don't say that.
Spicy chorizo sausage this week, and it ruined 2 days for me.
Oh, you can't have spices, Fanta.
Not anymore. Like, my stomach just like can't handle it.
Oh, I definitely love spicy. I don't enjoy when it's that hot. I could take a nice big glob of wasabi, and I find that it clears your sinuses, and I kind of like that pain sometimes a little bit. But like, I don't super love when you have something so hot that you're like snot and eyes are running. And
well, it's not even like, it's that thing about like when people are like, oh, like I love really, really spicy food, but it's like, it's no longer about flavor. It's just about like the competition aspect of it.
Yes, of course.
So in this case, again, I just...
Okay, so do you guys think that Fessy would have quit here?
Yes.
Yeah.
He would have found some way to not.
Yeah.
or he thinks 100% he would not have eaten the pepper. Yeah. Or he would have quit because it was too much. Yeah, he would have probably quit because like, oh, I have to eat the pepper and my partner's Anissa. You can't run this part. I'm not even gonna bother eating it because like we're gonna get 0 points anyway. So, and like I would have been like, well, that's a quit. TJ, make him go home. Like, none of that. So, yes, and Anissa. Oh, they finished it. Did they just finish the food first, or did they finish the actual? leg.
They had peppers and then they had to go sprint again.
Okay, so this is how they left. Okay, so Yes and Anissa, they finished eating the peppers and the puzzle first. Then it's Darrel and Kellyanne. Then it's Eric and Jonna. Alton and who? I don't know. I put something wrong. And
Ruthie.
Jemmye and Mark. Oh, I put Yes. And so that's the order that they left. But this is where it was going downhill, no pun intended, for a few people. So we see Jemmye looking as if she saw a ghost, like she is out of it. She's just staring into the air. She doesn't look like she's going to make it. We hear, and it has to be a misdirect, because to hear Darrel saying, I need a medic, I don't think I can finish this, and I don't care. I was like, what?
Well, wasn't that two different things? Because Darrel goes down, like Darrel is like ill, and then he goes down, and then he's like, you just see like the top of a black toque, or a beanie if you're American, and then it's like, I need a medic, and then it cuts, and then you see like Jemmye and like TJ is there, and then just like he's like, you know how I feel about quitters. So
yeah,
like,
Jemmye says,
Jemmye
says, well, I could just quit. I could just quit at this point. And it's dark. So you know it's right before the overnight part or something to do with that. But we also see that they have to eat other food. So maybe she doesn't want to do that. Or maybe she thinks based on my points. Yeah, maybe it could be that. Or maybe she thinks, well, with my point, like there's no point. Maybe she decides, like whatever it is. But because my question is, if someone quits, like same with Darrel, I feel like I heard that too, and I was really scared for him. If your partner quits, then do you have to quit too? Because it's not a partner final.
It is. Yeah. That's what they said.
Remember at the start, he was like, if your partner can't finish, you're out.
You're done too.
So you have to work together to make sure that like you guys finish.
That's so unfair. So like, do you think, because who's Darrel with right now? Ruthie? No.
No, he's with Kellyanne. Kellyanne will pull him.
No, but right? what if he's like, I need to quit? Because I heard him say, he says, I don't care.
It's too on the nose for them to be like, cliffhanger. Darrel's gonna quit. The strongest duo right now.
Yeah, I don't think Darrel's gonna quit. I think like he's just like, he might just need like a minute or something, and then he'll like come to and be like, okay, like
it will pass, like literally, but like it won't be fun until
like shit your pants. I would shit my pants and not care at that point.
Oh yeah, I would be like,
I'd rather it out than in. Like goodbye, I'll have poo in my pants. I don't even care. It's a final. You just do it.
I just want to Cheyenne.
Like that's what Jonna would do.
Cheyenne was saying that to Devin when they were doing the final of Rivals, and she's just like, she's crying. She's like, I want to shit, but I can't shit on TV, and my mom would kill me. And she's just like crying, and she wants to go to the washroom.
Even that part with too, like that last chunk, when Easy's like, we got to go at a slower pace, and she's like, are you fucking kidding me? No. Like she has not given up, even though she's obviously exhausted. Like I would have expected her to gas out so much quicker. And I just think it's like really impressive. And I'm excited to see. I agree with what you're saying now that I see how the points, I wasn't calculating the points. Seems like Easy's like donezo, but I really want him to finish.
Yeah.
And
I think he will finish.
Yeah. And I think that like the overnight part will be interesting because that, again, as you said, it's all about willpower. Like, staying up all night, I've done it many, many times. Like some people just can't run on it. Yeah, I mean, you just don't sleep, but that's another thing.
You don't.
I love sleep.
You sleep from like 6 a.m. to noon. Like that's like your time.
Sometimes,
when you sleep.
No, like 3 to 10 is usually like my vibe.
My vibe. But yeah, what?
No, like Chantel's right, because like you were texting me like last night, and I had already fallen asleep. And I woke up, and then you texted me. I texted you back, and then you texted me right away. And I was like, "Did you go to sleep?"
I did. Was it this morning? I can't remember. But like, I did remember. I just like I woke up like sweating at 7 a.m. So I didn't get very much sleep last night because like I got like maybe 4 hours or so because it was too hot, and I was like, oh my god, I can't do this.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what's gonna happen with Darrel, because if his stomach is like whatever, he just needs to puke it out or shit it, like whatever. Like he cannot fuck this up for Kellyanne. Like that is such bullshit. And okay, in the preview for the end, it showed the part at the very end where it's like every man for themselves. I think like when they have to climb the mountain at the very, very end.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it was maybe Mark's voice being like, now it's just individual, like amazing, you know?
Yeah.
And I didn't see Darrel, but they didn't show everyone. So I'm like scared.
They're not going to show Darrel for sure, because like they need to build in this cliffhanger. So that's why I'm just saying, like, really, like, you're going to be like, Darrel's calling for a medic and he's going to be out. Like, that's just not dramatic storytelling, I would say. I would imagine. It has to be a misdirect, because it would be so bad if that happened. And for them to show it this way.
For
you
in your draft, Michelle.
Oh no, me, I have Darrel.
I don't even remember who's on my draft, Fanta, honestly.
I'm
rooting for Kellyanne. She's not even on my team.
I have Kellyanne and Darrel.
Who has Jonna?
I do.
Fanta.
See, who has Easy? Not me.
Who do I have Easy?
I have
Okay.
Mark.
You have Mark and Ruthie and Alton. That's okay.
None of them are going to win at this point.
Ruthie's still in contention.
Ruthie's in contention.
Mm-hmm. And Mark's still in contention.
But you know what? I saw in the preview too that they have to eat more gross stuff, and that makes me confident that, like, you know,
Darrel's eating it.
Yeah,
like there.
And Mark's gonna eat it, and
Kellyanne will eat it.
Kellyanne has she'll puke it through, but she'll eat it. So will Jonna. Yeah, I can't wait to see it. Honestly, I love how many legs there were in this first part. I love when there's multiple parts and they actually show us all the parts, because there's a lot of finals where they say, "Oh, they didn't show you all the legs." No, I want to see all the legs.
Mm-hmm.
I want to see these are the points, so I can calculate as well as it goes along. Or Chantele can, and she can let me know what it is. And you know, we can see the different elements that you have to combine, and it's just such a perfect way for people who don't know the challenge to watch and see, like, what does it take? These are all the different skills it takes. And there's going to be things you're better at than other things. So you've got to have strategy and pick the right person to help you through the right thing. And it's true, like, having the stronger people at the end is good no matter what, because you want people who aren't going to give up on you.
And I want people to think that, like, I still have a shot to win this. So like, we're getting to that. You're not going to ruin me winning this because, like, you're slow. So we're getting first place still. So
yeah, absolutely.
I didn't write down. I meant to go back and look. Fanta, did you know offhand who still needs to be partnered? I
know Kellyanne will be with Alton.
Jonna and Mark.
Kellyanne did Alton with the bike.
Oh, so she's with.
Has she been with Yes yet?
You said she was with Yes. Was she with Yes?
Yes.
You said Kellyanne.
Oh yes, I did write Kellyanne with Yes.
So she hasn't been with Mark. So Kellyanne will be with Mark.
Okay, Kellyanne with Mark. Okay, so who's with Yes next? Janae's been with Yes. Ruthie
Jemmye.
has Ruthie. Jemmye. Has Jemmye been with Yes? I don't think so. Who does Darrel have to go? Anissa? Yeah.
Anissa.
And then Alton still has
Ruthie.
Is that Ruthie? No. Yeah, I think Alton's already with Ruthie. So Alton must have to go with Jemmye, unless that happened already.
But she just picked She just picked him. Right?
Jemmye was with Mark in this last one.
But the one before that. No. Okay, so then she's with Alton, I suppose. Yeah.
No, Jemmye has picked Alton, so you are right.
Oh.
I think.
Well, now I'm confused.
Wait, Jemmye's with Mark, Alton's with Ruthie in this last one. So Alton still has Jonna?
That's what I thought. I thought she hasn't been with him yet.
Alton.
Okay, so
definitely not been together.
Okay. So I don't remember what we just said, but that's the tea. Who does Easy have left still?
He has Jemmye.
Who's the last person?
He has Jemmye because she keeps avoiding going with him.
That's bad.
She's going to be with him in the end. She's going to be fucked, and that's probably also why she quits. Because she's
like,
well,
I can't make it here. We're last. We're getting to this last
checkpoint.
But
I'm getting 0 said he's never going to give up. He said, and I trust that he doesn't want to give up, even if he knows he's not going to get the points to win. He wants to prove to everyone he can do it, and I want him to have that chance. So we'll see what happens.
So how do we feel about this amount of people in the final? At first I didn't like it, but now I quite like it, maybe because of the people in the final. Yeah, I'm with you, Jorge. I really didn't think so.
This season is like near flawless. Like everything about it, because of the casting, like because of the personalities, because of the music, the way that it's shot, like it's very like cinematic. You never get to like see
in a way that's not contrived.
Exactly. Reality show. So it doesn't matter like how many people. They could have had like everybody in the final and it would have been good.
Yeah, exactly. That's kind of what Jorge is saying here, that he wouldn't have minded if Jisela and Derrick had stayed, because like he wanted them to run the final. Because they did this points this way, like that would have been a nice way to maybe since they didn't continue with these kind of little mini purges. Like I thought that maybe every other leg would be another kind of purge. I thought that that's kind of how it was going, but maybe there is a purge before they do the solo part, and maybe that's why Jemmye's being seen kind of quitting or like saying like she doesn't want to do it or whatever. So I'm not sure how it's going moving forward. I think that they could have easily had Jisela and Derrick start with 6 points and go down to 0 as opposed to 5. Like, what's the big deal there? So everybody would just actually get the chance to run the final, because if they're there, they might as well do it. Who cares? But I definitely didn't think I was going to like the way that the final was going to be set up. We didn't guess it at all. We all gave our thoughts as to how we thought the final was going to go down, and it wasn't at all. And it was more enjoyable than I could even have imagined. I was like, I can't believe how much I'm enjoying this final. So it's great. We only have 1 more week left, which is really sad. Do you guys have anything else you want to say about this week?
No, I'm pumped for next week, and that there's still going to be a reunion after as well. And
that'll be the next week. Yeah, I guess so, since it's not with Devon.
Yeah.
With Maria Menounos and some football player, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's it. Is that all she wrote? I'm sad, guys. I'm gonna have PTSD and I'm just gonna not be able to like do my Fridays and Wednesdays without you guys. It's been like a long time.
It has been.
Are you guys working on anything you want to share with the people?
I'm currently working on setting up a bidet.
Okay.
I want one. I've been meaning to get one.
Okay, a bidet.
Yeah. I need a different like hose for the water supply, but by this weekend, water's gonna be shooting up my butt.
Yay! They probably need that in the outhouses on this final when they like these poor people like try to get rid of this.
Imagine that. I couldn't imagine that on the way out. Like I can't.
It'd probably burn on the way out.
Yeah, it would be. It'd be like your insides are being like scraped out with like flames. I don't know. It wouldn't be good. It'd be very fiery, I'm assuming. Okay. So our final question for this evening is, who do we think we're gonna win? So let's put our own stakes on who do we want. So we could do maybe overall person you want, and then person from your team that you think has the best chance. We'll do both of those stats.
Okay. I would say from my team, I've got Ruthie, Mark, and Alton. So I would put my money on. I mean, Ruthie's got the most points out of the 3 of them, I think.
I think she has the same as Alton, but they both have 8.
As Alton?
I'm sorry, as Mark. Mark and her have 8.
In which case, I would put my money on Mark. Out of that, who I want to win overall, I would say like the person that I want to win the most is Kellyanne, who I think will win the whole thing. I'm still on the fence here because there's so many what if factors. I guess I might think maybe Yes will win the whole thing. I don't know for sure. I feel like they haven't shown enough of Yes throughout the season to warrant I feel like he would have had a different edit maybe if he was going to win the whole thing. I don't know. But yeah, I'm going to put my money on Kellyanne.
All right, Fanta.
Not on my team, I would say Kellyanne. And then on my team, either Yes or Jonna.
Oh, Jonna, you have her in there. Okay. Oh yeah, it's on your team, but yeah, that makes sense. So I'm thinking, okay, Kellyanne is on my team. So I do have some of the front runners on my team. So not on my team, I would say top would be Yes. I do really think that, you know, the whole thing with Anissa, and he hasn't really had that much airtime, and he's doing so well on this challenge, but it's still quite, subdued. Like, it's still like, it's not like they're focusing on him too much. I'm wondering if they're trying to build the storyline like he was like the sleeper that they let get to the end and he comes in and he takes the win. So I could see that being the path, especially with him and Kellyanne being those two that were speaking at the beginning of the episode. I'm like, are they going to be the final two? And maybe that's going to be a tie. And like, then there's going to be, maybe they'll split the money in the end. So like, we didn't want any money to be split, but it's a tie. So they actually do have to split it. Or I don't know how, like, that gave me goosebumps. So
that
what if that is
honestly, if two people ended with the same amount of points, I would fucking love that. That if they got to split it, that would be amazing. I could also see them being like, well, we're gonna go down to timing or whatever. But
you
I
couldn't
don't
really
think
do it with time because like it would be hard to really track that with the different partners, would it?
Yeah, I think that like if two people end with the same amount of points, I think it'd be super cool to split it. That would be awesome. I think it would be amazing. And or like, okay, you guys both got the same amount of points. The person with the faster time of a certain section, maybe the last section, you get to decide whether you split or keep it, like kind of like a rivals vibe, because all of these people would split it. Like every single one of them would. They're doing it, you know what I mean? So yeah, I don't know.
So yeah, like this cool. Is maybe, or so like what if it happens something like, say Mark passes, or not Mark, sorry, Yes passes the finish line first, and then Kellyanne gets second, or vice versa, and then they end up with the same amount of points. So maybe it would be who crossed the finish line first, whatever, got to make that decision that you're saying. So that could work like that. I feel like this must be what's happening because the one winner thing is so basic that, like, I know you guys are saying it's all about drama and intrigue, but like, I think the splitting it with the two people tying, I feel like that must be the way they're building the season. It just has to be, in my opinion. So I think, just kind of really going off like on a tangent here, is that I think that Yes and Kellyanne are going to get the same amount of points in the end and split that $500,000. And if that doesn't happen at all, then Darrel is going to defend his I always go into the final and win. So those are my two kind of big scenarios. That's what I think was going down. Jorge says, I think it will be Yes or a woman. I have a feeling Kellyanne will win, coming in last and ending in first. That would be amazing. Absolutely. I would watch that. What do we think about the Bear situation? I don't know any more. That's what's happened other than he was actually charged. Was he arrested? Yeah, he was arrested.
Well, he was arrested before and got out on bail, and then now he's been like officially charged with shit. So
he's charged, as far as I know.
Yeah.
I would like him to see some jail time because, you know, he gets away with a lot, and that's why he was able to do this and feel like he was going to be protected. And even when it was first addressed, he kind of laughed it off and wasn't really even taking any ownership for it. So I do feel as though he needs to get a little bit of a lesson. So I hope that they are really make a lesson out of how to treat anybody, especially a woman in sexual situations. I think it's pretty disgusting how he usually is, and what he did here, I think, is definitely punishable by jail time. So that's what I hope. Well, not last, but second to last. Well, yeah, she was basically last though at that first section. So she was last, like, essentially, like she was last that got to stay in. Okay, so we're done it. We got who we have our stakes in. I can't wait to see it play out. I wish it was on every single day so I can just watch it right now. I don't have to wait till Thursday, but I will. So I love you guys. please do us a favor, as usual, subscribe. We love the subscribers. We're going to figure out when the party's going to be. It's going to happen pretty soon. I don't know if it should happen like after the finale. We'll just have a little party. We'll give away some money. We'll kind of workshop that to see when will be best for everybody. But that's kind of what I'm maybe thinking. Having a finale party and 1,000 subscriber party all on the same day. So we can maybe do that. Have a little bit of fun. All right. So love everybody. Thank you, Jorge. Have a great night, everybody.